are common examples, simple examples that gives us the enlightenment of a certain process would be. Okay. Now let's try to continue on what I have been telling you, that we are focusing on our customer. So we have to determine on um, the ordering materials, how are we going to produce it, how are they going to pick that materials, and of course the shipping. Then we'll have the mixing, peeling, sealing, and of course the packing. Simple, but it will give us a concrete steps in order to deliver a particular product to our customer. And just like in making our flagship program project, we need to have a concrete leveling of process that will start in a very simple one, then into a higher level of process mapping. Okay, as you can see on the next slide, the levels of process mapping. Let's try to associate this one now where we are in. So simply, it is a sequential steps of the process at once where you are trying to glimpse and glance on this particular slide. We can see the process in multiple ways. So see, if we want to get a high level process maps, where only we should know who are our suppliers, what all the inputs. So a wide process steps we are going to take into. And all our end is our customers. So the levels of process mapping, as you can see, we have the strategic planning. So next to that, if you are already through with the planning, so I'm not only giving you the concrete example because I'm in the planning section. Planning is really important, isn't it? Diba? So I'm not bragging, but sometimes I really understand how important planning is. So, well, we have a very keen and strategic planning. We can, of course, develop a curriculum instruction which is appropriate to our customer. We have to design student support services and, of course, operations management that we need to develop and manage stakeholders. We have to consider all those things in order for us to develop a particular concrete curriculum. A concrete curriculum that is well designed, and of course it should be deliver professional learning. And with that, we can also provide effective instructional programs. Now, we have attended different seminars, sessions, and even talks with and forums to any other particular activities. We have learned all throughout the different process in associating how to make our learners develop a well-rounded individual. So there are many steps that we need to consider. Now, if I were to continue, after designing and delivering professional learning, we can provide effective instructional programs. Assess then the student's achievement because we are done already completing things. So we have to assess, we have to evaluate the program if it is really working it well or not. So that is a, I would like also to remind everyone that along the way, when you are crafting your project, you will be um, you will be encountering different situations and problems like what I told you a while ago. But these are, of course, the things that, of course, kami nun tanga spices of a particular goals to achieve. Diba? So, evaluation is also very important. So, we have to align with the standards. We have to design a certain curriculum again, then provide for parent and community input, develop scope, sequence, and timeline, develop instructional calendars, select instructional resources, and of course, demonstrate the program. All right? Now, are you ready for the first level, which is I am going to discuss to you about sipok? So, okay pa ba ta dihang dapita or gasipok na ato ang utok? Kay nagkahapon og duka na kaayo. Well, I guess and I hope that it's not that I am thinking of, but somehow I would like you to learn on this particular diagram, the sipok. All right. So, as you can see, we have here S stands for the suppliers, then I for inputs, P for process, O for the outputs, and C for the customers. Okay? Okay. So, if you are going to go deeper in understanding this particular diagram, this is a level 1 process map. So we see the overall process. These process maps actually are mostly used when we're going to define phase, where, of course, we need to have a hawk eye view of the overall process. Define phase, where, of course, we need to have produce naka-on ang ilahang mic, tapos ang i-off palihog. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so again, it is a high-level view of the process, which helps us to define the project boundaries, starting and the ending points. If you are going to look at it in the first definition, it defines project boundaries, starting and ending points. Anong starting and ending points if you are going to associate it right now with what you are thinking? Makayong nga si SIPO is a particular map wherein it is in the overall process. Again, these processes are used to define the phase where we need to hook eye view of the overall process. It's an overall process. All right? It describes the data. If you were trying to, if you are learning on the past slides I am discussing, you can see there an example kanina of a particular supplier. So a supplier would have to, of course, talk into and really have this computing and analyzing of a certain process in order for them to make a certain input on what they are going to give or what particular output they can provide to our customers. Remember that a process, again, if to define back, it is changing an input. And again, our main goal is to give quality to our customers. All right? Now, we have here an example of a SIPOC. So, SIPOC example. So, suppliers, we have manufacturer, mga office supply company, yourself. Example of a supplier and a power company. So, ang input is mga printer, computer, paper, toner, for instance, documents, and for the power company, you have electricity. So, the process, on the other hand, and everything what has been said to supplier and input is the printing process. So, our outputs are the copies. Who will then benefit? Our customers. So, a process steps perhaps. First is to turn on the printer. Put the paper on the printer. Select a printer setting. Then click start. Then get the copies. So that's it. These are everything that you can see where you are going to craft a particular flagship. I want everyone to look at the process steps. Kada kung giingon nga turn on the printer, put the paper on the printer, select printer settings. If you are going to see the example of CPOC, suppliers, the input, process, output, and the customers, they are already put into one. Because a particular turning of printer could not be realized, my friends, without any manufacturer of a printer or a computer as well. So they are very important. An office supply perhaps is also very important because what are the things that we're going to use if we are going to print something? So it's the paper. Then a printer, a photocopier, or everything could not function without a toner. Of course, you need also to have yourself to manage such activity, the document that you are preparing of. And the most important is the power company because of the electricity. Because how can we turn on the printer if we don't have the electricity? So it's a very concrete example as CPOC look like. So therefore, if those things are associated and put into one already, the process is on the printing now. So what could be the output? Of course, the copies of the document that you wanted to produce. And who can benefit those copies? You yourself and the others. That will serve as the file, for instance. That is a concrete example of a CPOC, my dear friends. Okay? Before I'm going to move on to the next slide, I would like, and I was able to hear my good friend out there in the name of Dr. Edphil Cabal. Dr. Edphil Cabal, are you there, my friend?
Yes, Doc Carl.
Yes. Sir Edphil, how do you, just this is not a question, but it's an insight before I'm going to push to my next slide. So how was it, my dear friend, about CPOC example? How was it? Do you find it easy? Do you find it useful?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you, Sir Carl. Yes, sir. It is very useful. If I am going to rate that from 1 to 10, being 10 as the highest, I would rate that as with 10 rating because in the CI process, when we are going to make and when we are going to craft already our CI project, this tool is very helpful in coming up with a very valid and a very shall I say very valid and a very comprehensive project wherein our customers needs and customers wants are really being addressed, Sir Carl.
Wow, that's a comprehensive answer, Sir Edfield Tabak. Thank you for that sharing. In a
You're
way,
welcome.
you've got the idea about SIPO. So it's very simple. But at the beginning, we are also confused on what we are going to do. But literally, everything was being said on this particular example. Thank you so much, Sir Edfield. Now, may I proceed to the next slide now? So another here is a current state SIPO. So we are now trying to embrace ourselves in this particular slide because we are into this business. Supplier, we have the supervisor, the principal, may kamo nga teachers. So ang input, we have the PELC, lesson plan, lesson guide, paper, pentel pen. And of course, the process is the learning process. So the output we have it's either low or high. We have also the formative and test results. Customers not to any for supervisor delivering and giving an input about PEL used by the teachers in the learning process. So the customers is our teacher. Now if you can see, Why is it that our teacher is the customer? Because what the supervisor is on the felt, it can be used on the learning process. So it depends on how the teacher manipulates such felt in a particular learning process. So if the result or the output is low or high, of course, it will boomerang to our customer, which is our teachers. With our principal also, then the rest. If you are going to see on the process steps, you look at here, we have preparation, presentation, generalization, application, and evaluation. I would like you to see on this particular slide. Now, we are again on the current state of the learning process. You have there the preparation, the presentation, generalization, application, and evaluation. So look at here on the different things you can see under preparation. You have assignments, review, motivation, and etc. Before I'm going to continue, why we are dealing these things? Because we are trying to emphasize how important process would be. Okay, how important are mapping into our process when we are going to make our own flagship, right? So in the presentation, you have distribute the pictures for each group, then give instructions, pupils to perform an activity, then reporting, etc. Sa atong generalizations, ask questions related to concepts, and etc. If you see, these things are the current things where our teachers are doing prior to what the COVID-19 brought here with our situation. But definitely, even if we are distributing modules, still we are putting this process into consideration because tinagiragyan taaning ang mga steps. So now, I will be giving you a workshop. So I want you to create your own CPOC. So I guess you are already, not guess, but I know that you are already in your school channel. I'll call it the school channel because you are now in your team, CI team in your school. So using your problem background, which is based on your identified priority KPI, I want you to identify your current key process. So I want you to create a CPOC and map out your process steps. Okay? Nakita man mo ako sa ibalik ha for a while. I want you to see on this. You are already having this problem background within you. So make this example a SIPOC example. Dayon, after making a SIPOC example, you do a process steps. You look at below the SIPOC example. Okay? I will be going back to the so I want you to indicate the specific activities in each steps. So use the template provided and work within 15 minutes. So after the allotted time, go back to your general channel to share your outputs. So for a while, ha. Okay, I'm back. So I believe that our time is not that too long, but you need to create this one as an example of a particular output in your workshop one under this particular topic or session, in which I'll be calling, I guess, two groups later on to present their own CPOC creation and the process steps you made in your CPOC. But since we don't have that luxury of time, I just would like everyone to keep all your outputs because we are going to collect that one here in the office. All right. So I'll be giving you 10 to 15 minutes to do this particular activity. Okay? Timer starts now, my friends. By the way, ano mo pa ko? Okay. We have here an example of a template that you need to fill in. Kanilang siya, ang inyong sipok template.
Ko yung tawag ng kita. Matas.
Ngay siya email admin. Tentan pa kanya mga forms saan. Pasen pa sa kanya ng imuhang o ma-approve. Iko na lang kung ang maantay ng kukuha. Email sa Sir Donre.
Okay, so um, I would like to request now for a particular sharer, a district. May I invite? May I invite Shakon 3, my dear friend, Dr. Macrina Villaluz, and the rest of the team. Please share to us, ma'am, your outlook.
Okay, good afternoon, my friend.
Hello, my friend. Good
This
afternoon.
is the result of full laborative work of from Saturday District. Wala. Ayun. And Ma'am Glyza will share to us Project Basa. Hello,
Okay.
sir.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Hello, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Okay, so we have here our Project Basa, which stands for Better Reading Services Amidst Pandemic Save All.
What
So
is that
these
again,
are
ma'am? Excuse
for
me.
the
What is
SIPOC
that again, ma'am?
template.
Project.
For the SIPOC template, we have our suppliers, the teacher advisor. For the inputs, we have the word cards or the meta cards. Then the process, the reproduction of meta cards, orienting parents how to conduct this BASA project, how to conduct reading to their kids during the distribution and retrieval of modules. And for our outputs, we have the accomplished checklist, monitoring checklist. Our customers are, of course, our learners. Now, for the process steps, we have first gathering data on literacy rate to identify the reading skills of the children. Identify words found in the story of the week, then prepare 5 words a week per child. Same set of words. Then orient the parents on how to conduct our BASA project. Then, of course, it will be followed by a monitoring of our BASA project. Thank you. From Second Go, Daddy Manong!
Okay. Thank you so much. Shaton 3, of course, headed by, of course, our friend, Dr. Maclina Villaluz. Upon listening to your SIPO, it was really well done because you were able to hit on the different standards with the suppliers, input, process, output, and the customers. And of course, you have the process steps. Congratulations, my dear friends from Shaton 3. Thank you so much. Now, let us have another one, another district. So, can we have group from Bacong? Okay lang ba from Bacong District that you can share your SIPOC to us?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Bakong District.
Wow, thank you so much, Sir Sardan. Can we hear from your SIPOC template, Sir Sardan, from one of
Okay.
your team?
Okay, good afternoon to all. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Bakong District. Project Read. Reading Enhancement and Activities and Development. Read.
Okay.
Supplier. Teacher. School head. Input. Ink. Printer. Bond papers. Xerox machine or photocopying machine. Electricity. Process. Teaching reading through online reading tutorials, limited face-to-face reading instruction, outputs, reproduction of printed reading materials. Then the customer are the non-readers.
Okay. How about our process steps?
Process step is identifying non-readers, then gathering of needed materials, printing of reading materials, then distribution of printed reading materials to the teachers, then distribution of printed materials to parents and learners. Thank you,
Uh,
sir.
wow, thank you so much, Sir Sardan, and the CI team of Bakong District. I am congratulating the two districts because you were able to hit a particular output in this particular CPOC template. Okay, so I'm back. Can you hear me now? Hello, can you hear me
Yes,
now?
sir, Carl.
Okay, thank you so
Yes,
much.
sir.
Medyo
Yes,
nawala tayong
sir.
kamay, no? Sige lang. So let's try to talk about the activity flowcharts this time. So an activity flowcharts, these are specific on the things what happen in a particular process. So they often capture decision points, rework loops, complexities, and etc. So like what I told you kanina, along the way, we'll be experiencing problems and situations which we don't actually allow it to happen, but sometimes it will. Now, this is an example of a flow chart, as you can see. That is very familiar to us, especially when we are in college, taking our courses in education, we are really into it. Like our college professors are trying to let us identify on the flow chart, then interpret it. Diba? So the particular things like doing projects and doing some any other innovations, we need to consider also this particular flow chart. All right. So we have here an example, a current process of a parent-teacher dialogue. So as you can see, start, then we have the advisor preparing forms 1 and form 2, then the check of attendance for the form 1, then definitely you have here while checking on it on a particular process, a teacher was able to see and identify students at risk of dropping out. So what she needs to do, inform the parents verbally or in a written form. So naabot ang parents arrive. So the choice now and the decision is will also of course reflect on what the teacher agreed to the parents. So nung ang parents nga no, so di siya ganahan mo help, then lock out ang bata or can have other remedies, home visit, or can have caregiving na po kung mapadayon siya, makapadagaan siya, intervention, then end. Alright. Another example is on the reading comprehension test process. So a teacher prepares the test question and distribute it. Test proper, then retrieve. After retrieval, checking. Then checking, recording the scores. After recording the scores, we'll proceed to the item analysis, and definitely we are now identifying the least mastered skills. And that is a time for us to teach again or do something or another intervention in order this particular item number to be enhanced. So this is an example of a flow chart. Then we have another one, the current state learning process. In the preparation, remember, we have the checking of the assignments, same still, reviewing and giving of motivation while doing our classes. Now, my dear, I am going to bring you to the deployment flow chart. All right. So this a type, of course, of a flow chart um, show the detailed steps in a process, as well as which people or groups are involved in each step. They are particularly useful in processes that involve the flow of information between people or functions as they help highlight hand-off areas. And you need to be very keen in identifying this particular, in grasping the concept of deployment flow chart. It gives information on the process works, remember that. And you need also to consider what particular information you are going to put into. And here is now the sample of a flow chart, of a deployment flow chart. We have the sales, technical, shipping, and the coordinator. But a concrete one will be given on this particular slide. As you can see, when we talk about learning process during the preparation stage, it will involve two. We have the teacher and the pupil. Remember, during the preparation stage, the teacher is checking off the assignment. Okay? Now, if you see on this slide, we have the teacher and the pupil. This is interrelated with each other. The learning process is, of course, interrelated within each other. Now, the teacher tells the pupil to get the assignment. Huh? and exchange with their seatmate. The pupil will, of course, get the assignment and exchange it with their seatmate. At the same time, after that one, a teacher will now call a pupil to write the answer on the board at a time per item. So of course, between 2 to 3 minutes, si pupil will write the answer on the board at a time. After that one, mga around 20 to 30 seconds, the teacher will check each item on the board. So, of course, upon getting the correct one, the pupil will check their assignment. Then the teacher will tell the pupils to return the notebook to the owner. So that's about 10 to 15 seconds. And the pupil returns the notebook to the owner. So teacher again will ask the pupils to score and count. Then the pupil raises the hand. So that is on a process, a current process wherein a part of the preparation a teacher is doing, which is the checking of assignment. Okay. Now let's try to put it in an office situation. Mga cash advances and preparation. This is on the level 2 process flow. Okay. We have this IAS section. They were in charge of checking and liquidating reports and record. Si admin, on the other hand, for admin officers, as for admin officers, signature of disbursement voucher and liquidation report. Then it will go to the budget section. Of course, to determine the availability of allotment and recording to registry allotment of obligation. Then it will go to now to the accounting section for the, of course, accountant's signature, if this file is okay, and the completeness, of course, with the supporting documents. Then it will go to the SDS office for the approval of the disbursement voucher. Then it will now go to the cashier's section. They are going to prepare the check, then ACIC and cashier's signature. After that one, it will go back to the SDS office for the signature of the check. Then, of course, it will now go back to the cashier's section for the releasing of the check. So kung panalitan, i-apply pa niya siya kwarta like differential, like monetization, the same thing, it has a process. Ang pagkalas is the releasing of check. Hindi na tayo maghimaya, my dear friends, because this is the best part of the process flow. Wherein we can get the money already. Okay? So, how to create a flow chart? You have to listen very well. So, when creating a flow chart, you need to work with a group so you can get multiple viewpoints. Okay? If imong tahi-tahion ang akong ipansulti kanina lamandaan, while discussing about the process, while discussing about the process flow, and down to the flow chart already, if imo siyang tahi-tahion niya later on, then of course you can see, and it could be, you can see that cooperation and having this particular brainstorming within the group is very important. In order for us to get the viewpoints of what we need to stick on, what we need to put on and remove, all right, while going into the process of our project. So first is, you have to arrange the steps in sequence. You need not to jump into the next step without considering the first step. So reminders that you need to be consistent in the direction of flow time of flow. Of course, time should always flow from top to bottom or from left to right. Remember, ha? From top to bottom or from left to right. Check for missing steps or decision points. Number the steps. Okay, for mapping perspective, flowcharts can map 4 different perspectives. You have to embrace these things because we are now nearing into a particular cloud that will distract your process. So we have here a flow charts that can map for different perspective on a process. First is what you think the process is, what the process really is, what the process could be, and what the process should be. Always put that perspective in your minds. This four particular thing. I'll repeat what you think the process is, what the process really is, and what the process could be, and what the process should be. So mga common process mapping mistakes. Yeah? Being unclear about the focus of your process mapping. Now, sometimes we are doubtful if we are going to include this one in the process. So you have to be very vigilant on what you are putting into. Remember, activity steps are very generic and therefore do not provide opportunities for improvement. Another common process mapping mistakes is trying to create the perfect process maps. So why are you mapping the process in the first place? You have to answer the question. Why are you mapping the process in the first place? So the common wrong use of flowchart is using CPOC to map the project processes. Okay, here. Summary of which flowcharting technique should you use. CPOC to identify the major steps of the process and where it begins and ends. To illustrate where in the process you will collect data. So, activity flowchart niya to display the complexity and decision points of a particular process and to identify the rework loops on bottlenecks. Ang imong deployment flowchart ana is to help highlight handoff areas in the processes between people or functions. To clarify roles and indicate dependencies. Okay, let's try to talk about the storm clouds. Let us now to situate the storm clouds. Okay, characteristics of a storm cloud. So storm clouds represent issues. These are issues that reside in the current process. So these issues must be relevant to the background of the project. Okay, so you are already having in your minds the CPOC, the flowchart, the deployment map, etc. Remember of the characteristics of a storm cloud. It is specific, observable, and measurable. It's real. And you have to take note that this storm cloud, again, are issues that reside in the current process. Ano kung giingon kanina? While you are making your flowchart already, your CPOC and everything, moabot na dito niya si storm cloud. That you need also to put into consideration because these issues must be relevant to the background of the project. Let's try to know. So storm clouds are, my dear friends, a pain points that are relevant to the critical school measure. So this can be mga inconsistency in the school measures, mga grades of the students in a quarter, perhaps. So, makita ninyo niya asa akong example ng flowchart na naa dito ang storm clouds. We are only giving you mga example of mga pain points na critical when we talk about school measures. Mga inconsistency in the process output, mga grades of the students during formative tests, napatay mga delay in the activities of the process, mga time spent in class preparation, extension of classes. Napatay mga inconsistency in the activities of the process, mga time spent in teacher-student interaction, mga inability to deliver the required output, mga submission of the homework, etc. Inconsistency in the input, mga student reading level. Those are mga pain points relevant to the critical school measures. And these are the storm clouds. Now look at here. I am bringing your attention now on the process math in problem solving. As you can see, if this is only a process in problem solving. Makita na to. We have the problem solving solution, solving selection. We have discussion. Then giving more examples. Then test on the problem solving. Then retest and feedback. I mean, test on the problem solving. Then check on the answer. Then feedback on test result and retest and feedback. This is our process map in problem solving. Let us try to situate now if there are presence of storm clouds. Look at here. During problem solving selection, and now you are discussing, what are the storm clouds you see? Na dito, inconsistent discussion time. So you have to consider the process. Kaya kanisi puan storm clouds will give you the idea that I have this inconsistency of the time or during my discussion. So you have to put consideration, what are the things I need to consider. Okay. So after that one, abot mo sa test on problem solving. What are the other storm clouds? Cannot perform basic operations. So that is considered as storm clouds. And we have to think of something what we are going to do about it. We have also cannot complete agona correctly. So you have to think of something. What are the things you have to consider in addressing these storm clouds? Okay. Then I have here another one. Situating the storm cloud example for problem-solving teaching process. All right? So opening prayer, 20 seconds. Rashid drill, 1.54 minutes. Can't perform basic operation. Dahil Rashid review, then checking of assignment. Abot niya after checking of assignment, presentation of the problem, unfamiliar words. Then we have the unlocking of difficulties of the different unfamiliar words. Then analyzing the problem. These are the storm clouds in situating example for problem solving teaching process. Okay, another one. Let's try to go back on the learning process. The presentation until evaluation. So let's proceed immediately after the preparation sa presentation. Na dito, distribute pictures for each group. The same picture used all throughout the lesson. Okay. Then you also have here that pupils perform activity. Only one or two pupils in the group are doing the activity. Okay. But my friends, while looking at the storm clouds, I want you to go back on its concept. Ako sa ibalik. Para dili po ta negative all the time in looking at the storm clouds. You take note that storm clouds represent issues that reside in the current process. So these issues, honey, on these particular lines, these issues must be relevant to the background of the project. Okay, yeah? So we are giving almost all the time of seeing the storm clouds as the pain point of a certain process. But we can also get something out from it when we talk about storm clouds. It can be also relevant to our issues or our process. Okay, just like with the cash advances, we have here from the IAS section, ang liquidation process, not properly checked at the district level. So it's a problem. We need to put into considerations what we need to do on it. Then we have the school heads with discrepancies in their submitted documents were not informed immediately. We have to address that one. Okay, let's have another workshop. This time, It's a process mapping and situating storm clouds. Okay, I want you to go back again to your team. You have to use the identified process in your CPOC. You have already the identified process in your CPOC kanina. Develop the detailed process map using the appropriate flow chart. So indicate using storm clouds that are observable in the process. Use facts, my friends, and not opinions. Have to take note on that. I'll repeat again. Use the identified process in your SIPO kanina. You have to develop the detailed process map using the appropriate flow chart. Indicate using the storm clouds that are observable in the process. Use facts and not the opinions. We will be giving you mga at least 10 minutes to do this. 15 minutes of that, but I'll just give you 10 minutes because I would just like to call another two districts to share to us on this particular workshop. All right? Sige. Timer starts now. Okay, so I'm back. This time, I would like to call our friends from Sibulan Pool, particularly Balugo. So let's try to have Ma'am Judy Rose and company to share to us their output. So Ma'am Judy Rose from Balugo National High School, Sibulan 2. Naara ba silang Ma'am Judy?
Yes. Go on.
All right, so we have here from Sibulan 2. Let's give them a big round. I mean, yeah, a virtual applause.
For our mapping process, our input is learners' numeracy and literacy, proficiency, and parents' numeracy and literacy background. And the following are our process. We have student profiling, identifying availability of learning resources, providing supplementary materials, and lastly is assessing the effectiveness of materials provided. Our output is increased in promotion rate.
So along the way, ma'am, what particular storm clouds you can situate in your CPOC, in your process flow chart?
Um,
Ma'am?
Along the processor, we the storm clouds that we may encounter are kind of participation of the parents and learners.
Okay, so those are the um, storm clouds that you were able to situate in your CPOC. Okay, so I'll be checking it more on your output based on the output you are going to send here in the office. Thank you so much, Balugo National High School, Sibulan 2. And I believe that in as much as we would like to entertain all other presentations, but we request our host, Ma'am Iril, of course, to remind you on the output in this particular workshop, our workshop 1 and 2, and I'm going to check also your output because it will really help improve as well. To end my presentation, let me just leave you this one. Remember, you don't learn to process map, but you process map to learn. That is for Dr. Myron Tribos. My dear friends, before I'm going to get out in this virtual hall, I would like to say that thank you so much for listening to me. I hope that you are learning in my topic about walking the process and everything about the process, everything about SIPO, flowchart, and the storm clouds that situate in our SIPO. Hoping that while you are going to make your flagship project, you are going to be in one particular common goal, and that would be understanding your role and at the same time giving a wider perspective on understanding and patience. God bless you more. Thank you so much. And this is Carl Credo, your planning officer today, saying good afternoon once again. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sir Carl. Let's give Sir Carl a resounding applause and love, virtual resounding applause and love. No? So thank you very much, Sir Carl, for that profound explanation on walk the process. So that is our session 6. I hope you're taking notes on, you are taking also notes on the different sessions. All right, so let's continue. Okay, let's have a 5-minute health break. Okay, you can go to the CR, you can get your coffee, your puto or your bread. So for 5 minutes, let's do that. And then after 5 minutes, we are going to proceed with our last topic this afternoon. And that would be on session 7, identify priorities. All right? So let's be on a health break for 5 minutes. See you in 5 minutes, friends. Alright, so naka-health break na ta, naka-CR, and nakakuha na tag-kape o supas, o bread para sa kape. Alright, so let us continue with our last session this afternoon, and that is our session 7 on identifying priorities or identify priority areas. And this would be facilitated by our Chief of the School's Governance and Operations Division. Let's all give her a resounding applause and love, Dr. Rachel B. Picardal.
Thank you so much, Miss I. And my salute. Okay na, Miss I, akong audio? Okay na akong audio, Miss I?
Okay naman.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Kaya di bang good ko makabalo kung okay lang ba siya or not. So again, thank you, Miss Irene, for facilitating, for hosting this already our second day of this virtual capacity building. And also my salute to our schools division superintendent who had been supporting us along the way since the very beginning, whatever programs and projects we will be undertaking. Sir Sinen is always there to support us, to motivate us, and also our chairperson for this CI flagship project, Ma'am Jelisa Arcilia, our assistant schools division superintendent, as well as Ma'am Nilita Ragay. So actually everyone in the division office is working as a team, working as one. So Sir Carl, thank you so much for discussing comprehensively the third step on stage 1. So actually we are still on stage 1, the assess stage. And then the first, sa tong atong kuan kay ganina, if you can remember, starting this morning, the very first session, the step 1 for assess stage, which is get organized. Diba? Get organized ba to? Tama ka na hear a comment? Yes? Walay tawo?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Get organized, of course, this was discussed by Ma'am Carmelita Alcala. So I hope by this time your team is already organized. You have already identified your school flagship team, school flagship project team, and then you already have your CI project template. Ginahinay naman tano kay in every step along the way, dapat ang atong mga output ato gina siyang gamiton for the next session, for the next step. Kay ato ning ginahinayan so that, as what I have said yesterday, nga atong target is after this 4-day capacity building, we will now have a draft of our, sa draft pa lang good, of our school flagship project, okay? So, and then, Sir, we had been also discussing, Sir Dennis had been discussing with you about talking with your customers. That is step 2. So we discussed discussed the voice of the customer, and you were asked to make an affinity diagram, and then the defining the metric and all. And then a little while, Sir Carl comprehensively discussed about the walk the process. So I know that this time we already have your ingon si Sir Carl kanyaga sipok-sipok na tong ulo. So ato na lang din nato siya inong sipok, ato lang siya inong saipok. Di ba? Pwede ra pud gay no. Saipok pa social gamay. But mayroon kang sipok or saipok or whatever. This pertains to unsa pa meaning of saipok? Suppliers. Say sumpay? Become ko ni sumpay.
Suppliers, inputs, process, output, customer.
Customer.
Yes, very good. Thank you so much. Ako ning isigi og check because diri magud ta mag-revolve kanunay no. So we have always to bear in mind who are the suppliers. Daghan magud na mga suppliers no. Kinsa ni ato mga suppliers. So our suppliers could be our manufacturer kung mga kuan man no equipments. Our suppliers could be office supply or company. It could be yourself, us, at it could be a power company, whatever. And then inputs, di ayon na nag-discuss si Sir Sal, inputs. Then the process, unsay mga proseso. And the most important is outputs. And later on, we have to consider our customers. Let us always remember that with this project that we are trying to craft, we're trying to design, our end goal is to have a customer delight. That our customers will be delighted, our customers will be satisfied with our services. Okay, so I know you have all this already. And then you have, bago lang yun, you were able to do process mapping. Kita na mo itong process mapping. You have your activity chart. Mo naman to inyong gitrabaho kaganina, no? And then, in which you identified the, unsa inyong i-identify itong mga clouds, mga storm clouds. Ano man yung mga storm clouds nga very important because these are the basis knowing that in this particular process, in this kaning mga atong nahitabo sa atong mga eskwelahan, in our programs, in our kaning atong mga programs and projects in schools, unsa man we think that this is already very good, but naapagud ato din yung tan-awon og maayo based on the outputs that we have, we will see that there are still clouds, storm clouds. So there are still areas to be improved on. Naapay mga areas na naapay yung mga gaps, di ba? Mao man na siya, no? So, right now, we are still on stage 1, but on the step 4. Sa step 4 na ta. Okay, so step 4. Our step 4 is identifying priority areas. So from the word priority, so kung ano no, kanang priority sa to pa pinaka-importante among all the problems identified, among all the issues identified, ato na siyang i-sequence, ato na siyang i-arrange, ato na siyang i-identify, ug among all those daghan gitag problema sa eskwelahan, unsa jud pinaka-problema aning tanan, di ba? So we have to identify because we cannot address them all at once. So we have to identify the priority areas so that og kinsa tong pinakataas og frequency nga problema siguro, pinakadaghan nga affected ani nga problemaha, ani nga issue, mo ni unahon nato og treat, mo ni unahon nato og solve. So mo na siya, no? As I have been listening to the ganina sharing, no, nga when they presented their storm clouds, the process, Sir Carl was asking for the process that they have identified, unsa mga proseso nga inyong na-identify, daghan man gud ta kaay nga processes, no, nga atong gi-base, di ba, kahapon yung nga atong i-consider atong mga KPIs, atong mga key performance indicators, of which of this, yan ingon sila nga reading, nato ini share og reading, may ilang problema reading, asang dapita nga reading, siguro sa grade 3, nga mao ni atong number of bata sa grade 3, mao ni atong number of non-readers in grade 3, then siguro ato na siyang ihimay-himay. O so, muna siya yung pinakataas. Sunod na po, numeracy. O, pila man jud ka percentage ang atong problema sa numeracy o sa diri sa atong reading. So, atong makita nga, kinsa jud ani ang pinakataas, muna atong dapat nga i-identify. Pero, we cannot identify these things kung wala tay mga measures nga himuon, di ba? Sorry, wala day ko ka-move no. Okay. Then, dahil si Dennis, dahil kayo. Sorry ha, for a while, ka nagka-problema ko sa kuan. Kaya dili ko kakita.
Kakita rami, ma'am.
Okay na, Ma'am Joy. Okay, so
Kakita rami.
Oo, sorry. So, naanataan ni diring dapita, no? So, identify priority improvement areas. But again, as what I have said, katong atong gipanghimo previously, mali siya mo help nato in identifying what area, specific area that we need to address right now. Kanang atong unahon din siya address, no? Okay.
Ay, kaniday tawag, kuniday.
Okay.
Sir, kanang nagpo.
Okay na din. Ako na lamang kuan kay dito kita. Okay. Okay, so I know that this time your team has already a detailed process map based on your workshop with Sir Carl Credo. So ready na daan ha. Naana na siya daan. Ayaw to ninyong ilabay. Kay maotoy atong gamiton. Although I'm not saying nga polish na to siya, final na to siya because again sa akong nadunggan kaganina murag numeracy, literacy, dapat parents inana ba murag daghan kaayo bitaw daghan kaayo. So I just do not know how are you going to do it kung you will be doing things, a lot of things at one time. So manatong ingon nga we need to prioritize. Ato lagi na siyang i-prioritize. So this time I know that your team has already a detailed process map of the process for improvement. You already have identified the storm clouds. So ito mga in the detailed steps of the process for improvement. And then your team has now identified relevant measures on the storm clouds. Diba? Nato itong yung mga storm clouds niya. O sa may atong mga unsa man kay kuan ani no unsa man nato ay pag-address atong storm clouds actually nanatay daghang gihuna-huna ana no gahuna-huna na tangdaan pero kanang ato mga gihuna-huna the things that we thought of dili na siya dapat final na why dapat ato siyang i-base kanunay on our data kinahanglan database kita kanunay so we have to base our decisions. We have to anchor all our decisions nganong kana gyud based on our data gathered. So mo ni siya karon in this step 4 as we prioritize the improvement areas dapat it should be supported by data. Okay? So mo ni actual nato karon actually mo ni atong focus for this session that after the session actually our output should be our focus problem statement. So muna atong output ha, giunhan ta mo daan because that would be our workshop in this session. Focus problem statement. This focus problem makes it easier to identify causes o after identifying unsa man gyud nakaingon aning mga problema ha. Nganong naa koy mubo kaayong percentage of kanang readers in my school, in particular grade level, in grade 3. So sa grade 3 pag yun, na kay 5 ka section, asa man gining section na dapit. O, di ba? Kinsa man gining mabot. So, you have to be very, very specific. Harong pag-address na to, specific pa na atong mga measures to address the problem. Kaya kung daghan kayo siya nga problema, ang ato pong mga siguro ang atong mga measures to address very generic na wala na noon tayo maigo, no? So, mana siya. So, that is very important. So, we have to craft our focus problem statement after the session to identify causes and not only identify but to make corrective action by identifying the critical storm clouds. So ayaw to ilabay yung mga storm clouds na gigama. I hope nakagama jud mo kay kami during our attendance to this with this in the regional level. Kami din is Ma'am Joy, that the team at the division office, kaning amo din conference room na puno ginitaw namo og Manila paper. Kay gagama-gama gid mi in town og storm clouds. We use meta cards, butang na Manila paper hong madali. Dayon, butangan og mga storm clouds diha og unsa jud nakaingon ani diring dapita in this area. Okay? So again, ingon ko kaganina nga in identifying possible solutions for this gaps and problems, we need data. Okay. So yesterday we had been talking about the importance of data gathering to make a sound decision. So that is very important. Now, how can data help you? Try to see in this slide. Sige, kanang naay mga mata, tanawa ko nun nga slide. Then I wanted to hear comment from you. Anything that you can say about this slide. Sige. Sige, for 1 minute. 1 minute. Okay. Try to see. Anything that you can say about this slide. Sige, I want to hear from...
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
No slides can be seen, ma'am.
Kita slides, ma'am.
Walay slide.
Slides.
You are still on you are still on the first slide.
I'm still on. After a while.
It's stuck on the first slide, ma'am.
Wala mo nakita nga slide.
Still not printed.
Stuck on the first slide, ma'am. The title page of your slide.
Title page? I'm already on slide 6.
Wala, ma'am.
Maybe
Wala, ma'am.
it's your connection there, ma'am.
Wala ni mo.
Still on session stage 1 assess.
Yes, it's connecting. Okay.
Anak na lang, ma'am Rachel.
Anak na lang.
Ha?
Anak na lang.
Ano lang slide
Nakita na ninyo?
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
yes, ma'am.
Ay, salamat.
Ayun na lang slideshow, ma'am. Outline na lang, ma'am.
Okay. Sige. Hindi na ko kakita din sa akuan din. Katong magkuan ko, mag-off or not. Ay, natagpa din. Okay. Thank you. Sige, now that you can see my slide, sorry kayo, ha? I have been talking here and talking. Wala mo kita sa akong slide, sorry kayo. So, okay. What can you say about the slide? Any sharer?
Ako, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
The slide, ma'am, shows us the chance to sort out what we think from what we think from what is really happening in the school or in any office, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. So that is your perception of that slide. Any other? I want another one.
Secretary of
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
IID
Yes, sir.
presentation that you have on this. Well, data is likened to the fragment, I suppose, or cracker underwater. Only part of its body.
So kung inaani ra nga data, atong makitaan, nga ma-picture walay numbers, walay figure, only you can only na to siya ma-address o kanang kuan gid ang problema kung wala tay klaro nga data. So you see how important data afternoon is. We really have to give importance to data gathering to support aron masuportahan ang atong project. If ever we say that this nga naman nga usa may atong rason nganong kaniman ang atong problem nga gipili, because of the data we have gathered, because of the facts and the figures that we have in our hands. Okay, so to help us separate what we think, kung presumption lang ay based ra na superficial ra nga imong nakita, mao siguro ni kay mauna inana no, pero wala kay data to support, dili gina siya kay reliable ang imong mga imong decision. So data help us see the pattern of the problem over time. So based on your data gathered, we can see the cause of this recurring marag na over time in your school. Kung kita nga school head, dili ra po ta magtagad, balik-balik na lang yung problema ha over time. Every year, balik-balik na lang gid ni. Ngayon ka nga, sus ko ma'am, bitaw ma'am, kung ano gid na ka ma'am, maura gud na ma'am, 5 na katuig ma'am, ingon anak ra gud na gihapon ma'am. And then the data shows ingon anak ra gud gihapon. What have you done? Di ba? What have you done? So, data will help us see kung naara bay recurring problem every year. And then it helps us identify and understand relationships that might help explain variation. So, unsa man mga ato mga relationships, like it might be nga ang strategies employed, if ever we have to look at the strategies employed versus the performance of our learners. So, it might be, di ba? Kung mamaya ito mga hypothesis nga, siguro, we have to look into the strategies. We have to look into the methodologies. We have to look into sa palain nimong tan-awon. Dahil imo din ang i-relate dito sa performance sa mga bata. Anong daghang kay sa hagbong? Oo. So it might be nga si teacher unsa ba? Depende siyang questions o sabi so there are things na daghan kaayo sa, and then we can really see this to our data gathering. Remember, listening to the voice of the customers, we can always gather data from them. We can talk to them, listen to their voices, harong ma-address nato kung sa'y gusto natong i-address. But first and foremost, we have to identify kung sa'y pinaka problema nga dapat atong i-address. So identify priority improvement areas. Okay? Then measure the impact of changes on a process. So this process, mo na ni process atong gi-employ. Now, we have been doing this for quite a time already. Na imo ni last year mo ni imong gigama. Karon na pong ira kay imo rang gi-replicate mo gihapon imong gigama. Kasi next year mo ra gihapon kay kapuya na kamo gama og lain. Bisag wala na siya kay impact. Seeing the output, dili na gid unta siya dapat ibalik, pero kay just to have a kuan lang gyud di siguro continuing nga naa gyud kay siging project, sige rin mong balik-balik bisag wala na siya impact. So we have to gather data about all these things. Kanang makikita na to bitaw nga kana po lamang ato ang gipanghimo ba nga ato magulaman na siyang haguan nga kana po lamang ningon si Sir Sinen bitaw sa iyang kanang message yesterday, our first day, na impactful kanang a lot can benefit. Not only nga maka-benefit ra siya sa katao, maka-benefit ra siya sa school head, karon si school head ingnon nga naagod siya project, bisag di na gud siya impactful, bisag dili gud siya moy mao nga problema sa school. More so kung maingon na ka nga mo ni ako ang project because ako ning gisuhid sa akong silingan, gadungan mi gama og project design, ako po ning gisuhid niya na nayu-yu na gud taan ang dapita, di ba? So we need to gather data in order for us to see all these things and in order for us to craft a project, to formulate a project which can really help our learners, which can really help our schools, that can deliver output, impact na tangible, visible to all. Sa, diba? Okay. So, mana siya. Now, we are tasked to have a data collection plan. So, mani siya atong data collection plan. Pagamon ta og unsa man ato data collection plan. Kay kabalota nga important kay nang data, but unsaon nato pag go about sa data. So, dapat natay plano. Pareha namo diri sa division office. When we started our division flagship project, we meet as a team. Kapila jud siguro mi mag-meeting, and then we plan out kay amo pa tong gi-finalize ang among project title. Kay pag-submit na mo sa region, dili pag gyud siya ingon ana gyud ka polish kay kana laging parehanin nato nga after the 4-day training kinahanglan mo submita, but later on we found out nga napada dapat i-refine nya kinahanglan pa jud nga imong ang project nimo kay kanang butangan pag ginan imong lami-lami nga title bitaw butang-butangan nimo bitaw nang munang atong title bloom speed nana ba so daghan pa kang dapat bitang imong i-polish gyud arong nindot kayong paminawan ang imong project. And then let us always remember na katong gi-discuss ni Ma'am Lilita nga atong project title ang atong dapat kanang maka-motivate siya sa mga tao nga magtan-aw. And then, not only that can motivate, but it can attract their attention. Haron po nga, basahon ang imong project. Kaya kung imong title, dal kaayo, kisay mo care to read your project. Kisay mo care to go through your project. Bisan untay nindot pa kay nga project, pero ang packaging dili maayo, so di gud siya gihapon viable to others, di ba niya? Ang ato rabang target, kung sa SBM levels of practice, kung dapat gusto kang mag-level 4, dapat nga daghang mag-benchmark sa imong eskwelahan nga supported by MOV nga dapat na kay logbook, visitors logbook nga kani mga tawhanan nag-benchmark. Ngano silang nag-benchmark? Because they wanted to see the impact, they wanted to see your projects in school nga kanang imong innovative project in school. So you see, una siya atong dapat atong motivation na aside from on top of solving our problems in school, not only in school but also we are leveling up, maka-level up na ta. So that is why we have to make our projects captivating to others. Okay? And then, mo man na itong pinaka din, mo captivating man na siya kung ay mong packaging maayo and then supported with data, of course. Nga maumang gini among problema. So, mo na among gihimo and then mo ni siya mga processes and this is the impact. This is the output of what we have done. Okay. So, data collection plan pa lang ito. Okay. So, we have what? Unsa man ang imong dapat nga data i-collect. And then, unsa may measure type of, unsa ba ito ni mga measures, measure type. So, nominal ba, ordinal, interval, or ratio. Di ba? Mamana sa mga data na to, no? Naatay mga katamiyon ta nga, gusto natong mahibalaan kung relationship sa strategy. Depende kung sa inyong problema. Depende kung kita inyong process identified with Sir Carl's session. Kung sa mato inyong ga-identify nga process atong napita. Then, unsa may imong measure type. Unsay may data type nimo nga i-employ? Ito will it be a continuous data? Would it be unsa pa laing nga data, discrete data? Inana no? Then how are you going to operational definition and procedures? How are this measured? Unsa mo nimo ni pag-measure? So, unsa may imuhang measurement nga gamiton, di ba? Pwede makang unsa may mga measurements ana, Sir Edfield? Pwede kang questionnaire, survey, pwedeng interview, questionnaires, di ba? Pwedeng FGD or whatever. So, depende kung unsa inyong problema nga gitakol. Depende kung unsa inyong identified nga focused problem. Okay? Remember nga dapat atong i-identify kung unsay atong problema, specific nga problema. Then, related conditions to record. Then, sampling notes. Pila man ka buok kani imuhang sampling, giunsa man imo pagkuha na imong mga sampling, nganong kaniman ang number of students nga imong o pila man ni siya ka percent, you know already, o pila ang dapat nga sample nga madawat in kay you cannot also have everyone nga tanan jud sa imong school imong paapilon dili man gud identified ra man gud to nimo. So you will have your, if sampling siya, pila man ngano man nga kaniman nga sampling imuhang gihimo. Then how you're scheduling, where asa nimo na siya, that should be your MOVs, that should be your additional attachment for that. So dapat nakaplano siya kung saan ninyo na, just like us here at the division office nga we conducted a series of conferences. Mag-survey ta, magama tag survey. Kinsa may atong mga surveyhon, di ba? So ang atong mga clients, mga schools, ay kinsa man sa mga schools, mga teachers, non-teaching personnel. Then ato ko nang butangan siya o kanang unsa so ga-discuss na pud mi. Unsa na to siya kinahanglan na age bracket. Kay depende ba ya kung unsa imong gipangutana, unsa imong problem. Depende ba ya kung unsay age bracket ang ilang tubag, so that we can also in making our analysis we can say nga kani mga edad ani nga mga bracket mga gulang na kay they don't care, especially kung technology ang pag-usapan, they don't care. Okay, di ba? So kani nga age bracket kay aktibo pa ni kaayo. Okay. Then kani nga naman nga katungkuan kanang kabahin og service record. Kinsa may kasagarang manguha og service record inana no, unsay mga age bracket nga manguha gid sa sige o mangayo sige og service record. Kato ba mga abtik kayo og mga abtik pa kaayo or kato nang naas mga mid or kato nang naas mga inana, something like that. So munay atong planohon kinsay atong kung mag-survey ta, kinsay atong surveyhon, unsay atong ibutang sa survey, unsay atong gamon, then among butangan og pila ka katong percentage kay dili man pud nato tanan ibutang, pwede tanang ibutang ng numero. So percentage lang siguro nga pila ka percent manginingon ana ba. So it's in your plan, sa inyo na ng plano. So be sure to test and monitor any measurement procedures, instruments. Pareha namo paggama kay we are so lucky nga si Sir Carl is very good in making the survey instruments, questionnaire. So, pag discuss pa lang mi daan, sulay-sulay po din mi og answer. Ay, hala, kung ato ning i-drop down, kung i-click na to ni, kung ako si kuan dili ko teacher, hala, wala ko'y kaansiran, kaya nga naman, wala sa drop down, inana, no? So, that is the meaning of, we have to test and monitor. Then, kung na to, okay na to, address na to nga concern. Amo nang gibutang dito sa kuan kay kanang Google Form, no? Okay na. Pagkakuan, ay man, napaghapon ay problema. Sige, dugangan og field. Kay inana ba? So, something like that. So, we have to, kung nakay plano, dapat imo siyang na-test, imo siyang gi-monitor kung okay ba. Because when you monitor it, kung musulod na tong daghang kinsay imuhang mga respondents of your survey, like kung imong survey nag-involve og parents, makabalo ka kung sa day problema kay siguro sa imong mga pag-bracket sa imong mga parents, kinsa ni nga mga parents, ito mga parents banisa, depende rin muna ninyo kung sa inyohang mga instruments na gamiton. So a sort of thing. So I will leave that to you. So that is an example of data collection plan pa lang na ha. Data collection plan. Okay. So moving on, pwede po ka maka-check po, pwede kang maka-check like, magama kag checklist, so arong kuan na ka ug unsa imong gusto nga kung like mga bata, imong customer ay imong mga respondents, mga bata, unya naara kay katong mura og interview siguro or whatever, depende ninyo kung sa inyong instrument nga gamiton. Then to determine the frequency, kanang pila kadaghanon nga mga bata nga mi-answer aning dapita. So kato nang pinakadaghan siguro mo nay atong kanang tagaan og priority. So inana no. So depende ra ninyo if you're going to make a checklist. Okay. So after that, we're not only after we have made our plan, then we have already collected our data. We have already analyzed our data. As presented, di na ko lang mo present og balik no, as presented by Manilita Ragay, katong atong data gathered, katong mga graph, tong mga daghang kay nga mga graph na yang gi-present, that is the result of our survey. Okay, results atong survey, analysis of our survey. So we found out, we're able to pinpoint nga kani di ay nga area. So kanina nga area sa kuan diri ta dinhi nagka problema, diri ta nagkakulilat, so diri mo ni atong i-address in our project. So after that, knowing all this, we have to present our data. It's either on a bar graph or a line graph. For me, murag pabor jud ko bar graph kay murag depende din no, kay sayon kay tan basta bar graph no, pero depende ra pod kay depende po na sa kadaghanon sa items sa inyong gibutang, but kung ako, I would prefer that depende ninyo na, depende po sa inyohang mga data collected. Okay, so this is an example about bar graph. Represent categorical data with rectangular bars mo sa kasagaran ng kabalo na kay mo anang bar graph kay mga bright na gutta kaayo ana no. And okay, that is an example of a bar graph to represent our data collected, because if we present data with all figures, murag dili kaayo dali dayong makit-an og what is happening no, kung puro ra den figures. But kung atong malantaw nga naa siya bar graph, makita na to dayon the rise and fall of our bar graph. Okay, so that's the example of a bar graph, the parts of a bar graph. So di na nato na i-discuss kay mobalik na itag college ana, ako ra nang gi-present to refresh our minds. Then this is an example of a line graph. So og daghan kay kang data, maglayog po na imong line graph, layog ng mga lines no, di ba? Okay. So, nindot po siya usahay, makita po nimo ang graph and all, the trend and all, makita po siya nimo gihapon. So, mas depende ra ninyo ginag unsay gihiyang inyong gamiton. Okay, now, let's move to the focus problem statement. Now that you have your data, you analyzed your data, you have presented your data kay kamo nga team. So kamo nga team inyo nang i-present unya dito kinsa inyong presentan ana. Kung TIC ka, pwede nimo i-present muna sa imong cluster head, cluster principal. I-present ninyo sa inyohang whoever nga makatabang ninyo, you think makatabang sa inyo ha. And then you already have your data. And then now you group, you meet as a team. This is our data. So this is the data shows with our data collection. This is the problem nga murag pressing problem in our school. So that's the time nga you are going to make identify the focus problem, katong pinaka-problema, and then you will formulate now your focus problem statement. Munta kong giingon ka ganina nga muna atong output actually to make our problem statement. Okay. Kay mao man na siya, di ba? Naama na siya sa inyong kuan, sa inyong flagship project that is a part, the focus problem statement. Now, how are you going to do your problem statement? Saan yung pag-identify, saan yung pag-formulate sa imong focus problem statement? You have already identified your pinaka-problema based on the data collected, yung pinaka-taas of frequency, unsa tong pinaka na dito ninyo. The focus problem statement is a narrowed down. Itong narrow down na yun, ito inyo na yung nakita nga pinakalagi version of the broad problem statement formulated by the team in step 1. Okay. Sa itong step 1, katong na ay get organized tanan dito, na kay identified, na kay CI, flagship template, identified na dito dapita inyong mga problema. And then, the focus problem statement specifies the 4 W's. Mura man atong hinumduman. What is the specific issue? Unsa man yung issue din sa imong eskwelahan nga pinaka based on the data collected, pinaka-taas of frequency. When is the specific issue frequently happening? Kung kuan man na siya, kanus man na siya nahitabo. Kung gabalik-balik man na siya, kanus man na siya balik-balik nahitabo. Kada kuan na lang gid ni, kada March, yan ani lang gid yung problema sa school. No. Kada March, kada August, yan ani na lang gid yung problema sa school, pero min bahaan. No. So, pirmi ba, balik-balik siya. So, kung kana mo inyong pinaka-problema, if ever, where is the specific issue happening? Asa man siya, kung gigon nga, ato gina siyang i-pinpoint, specify na to, asa gina siya, harong sa'yo na to pag-address. And then, what is the magnitude of the specific issue? To what extent this issue is recurring or happening in our school? So, what is the magnitude of this? So, this will be our guide in crafting our focus problem statement. Okay, Ra? Now I will show you an example of a focus problem statement. So example ha. So ngayon nakagather na kay data. Based on the gathered data, 24 out of 56, kwansa, almost pila man siya ka percent, 42. 24 out of 56 pupils or 42.85% in grade 3 PICA incurred 7 absences and above for the months of July and October 2013. So mo na siya kung giingon kaganina padaan nga specific ta kung sa problem nga atong i-address. So dapat sa inyong problem statement naagid siya figures. Ay ra mo dito butang og percentage because our readers will not know nga kung may na kang 42.85% in the grade 3 PCAP incurred. So klaro ba na siya? What na kabalog pila imong basis for that 42.85%? So dapat when you state your problem statement, focus problem statement, it should be very, very specific. So kani, bisag wala taning asa ra ganing PCAP dapit nga eskwelahan na, makabalo na yan tanan itay picture nga hala. Alarming to ni kaayo. Imagine 24 out of 56 pupils. So, isa ulit, ato na yung sumpayan nga pila na siya ka percent. Kanindot ba kayo tanawon ang percentage, no? Oo. So, dapat kumpleto siya. Na siya figure, na siya ordinal, naapod siya, na siya kuan ka ng figures, naapod siya percentage. So, 24 out of 56, very alarming. And that is 42.85%. In one section only, sa grade 3, incurred 7 absences and above for the months of July and August 2013. Kaya mo na siya nakita nilang problema. Kaya siguro mo na pinakataas gud nila na pinaka after doing all the kung ano the steps mao na ilang na-identify sa mga storm clouds mo na nigawas nila no inana. So that is how are we going to formulate our focus problem statement. Now, my dear friends, this is what we are going to do. Sige. I know that you are in your schools. Kanaingon ta nga naman tayo 5 in a team. So now you are sitting as a team. So balikan nato ang atong mga school data. Then kato atong mga KPIs, di ba? Ningon magunta nga kato atong mga KPIs mo tong sa first day pa lang daan nga gi-present ni Sir Carl ang KPIs nato diri sa Division of Negros Oriental. Then you were instructed also to prepare your KPIs in schools. Din mo ni taas kay mo unsa may nataas ninyo drop out rate, unsa may nataas ninyo diha failure rate sa inyong mga KPIs. So kaning tanan ato ni malantaw sa so man inyong gigamaan siguro kay nakagama naman mo og katong process, nakagama naman mo og mga storm clouds of all this. Ingon si Sir Carl kaganina nga kung printing of materials unsa may mga storm clouds ani ay guba kana among mga riso machine no. So mga storm clouds ginaana. So from there those are just examples no. Okay. So use the appropriate data presentation technique kung saan yung pag-present sa inyong data for the relevant data collected from your identified priority KPIs. Then describe the trends, the patterns, or behavior. Itong comparison for our data is for the last 3 years. Yeah. Kung inaani na lang yun ni, nga, maora yun ni, sige na to for 3 years, nga di ba mo maalarma ana, o sa yung buhaton, nga nung pabalik-balik naman na yung problema ha, wa mo gini na solve until now. Di ba? Nga, kuan ka na, ang joke anang istorya nyo ni, nga, what is the common denominator of 1/2? Ang hangtod ba karon mo kitang common denominator, ano? Sa una pa nang pinangita ng common, di ba? Okay, jokingly aside, describe the trends, the patterns, or behavior that's a see, if any. Then, formulate the focus problem statement. Then, can I give you, I don't know if 5 minutes is enough, pero dili man gud siya kuan na gud siya kanang ato ra ganing a taste of this nga makagama ta sa atong focus problem statement. Anyway, ayog tagai og lisod inyong kaugalingon. Make it simple. Based on the KPI, based on your data collected. Kung dili man na siya gyud makaing kamam, wala pa magud ma'am kay wala pa magud ka focus group discussion, wala pa magud ma'am ka survey. Yeah, that's true. Pero ug ibase niyo sa inyong KPI katong inyong gisugdan-sugdan sa atong mga workshops sa previous na mga sessions, dito lang ta mo base, no? Dito lang ta mo base, sige. Then katong inyong gisugdan sugdan naman niyo ganyan kay gibagi pa-report naman mo sa inyong mga problema. Pero nakita lang gina ko naminaw ko ganina na uban nga daghan ka ito ilang gi-mention ko saan man lang dagoy ani no. So karon let's try to stream down ato siyang ipagamay makita na to usad jud pinaka problema gid ay sa atong skill. Okay? So can I hear any comment? Because after 5 minutes I will be back to you, and may I ask siguro tulo 3 from our participants to present their focus problem statement. Ay na moglain nga kung katong mga data nyo inyuha na lang to. Katong presentation sa data nga bar graph or whatever nga yung technique, inyuha na lang to. Ang ato lang lantawon ang inyong formulation of your focus problem statements. Okay lang ba? Am I communicating? My dears, can I hear comment? Hello? Can I hear from Mabinay 1? Klaro, taga Mabinay 1? Unsa inyong buhaton?
Claro sa Mabinay 2.
Klaro sa Mabinay 2, labo sa Mabinay 1. What about in Manhuyod 2? Sir Domeng?
Yes,
Klaro ba sa
ma'am.
manuyod to? Yes,
Klaro
okay.
kayo, ma'am. Klaro, ma'am.
Yeah.
Klaro.
Sina na ko'y second kong, na ko'y first kong. What about in Santa Catalina 4? Mr. Tano, klaro ra ba sa Santa 4?
Yes, Rachel, you're very
Salamat
welcome.
kayo. Okay.
Klaro ra, ma'am. Klaro.
Okay. Since our task is very clear for all of us, so again, I'm giving formulate your focus problem statement. Dili na ko na siya walaon sa screen so that you will be reminded how are you going to formulate your focus problem statements. Okay lang, so that you will be guided. Kay kabalo mo og mainyo jud na siyang ma-pinpoint og unsa gyud inyong pinaka problema, maklaro na dana inyong problema. It would be easier for you now to address. Then not only address kana bang to employ strategies ug unsaon ninyo, what are you going to do to address this particular problem. Kay kung labo kay atong problema, syempre daghan pud kaayong strategies nga pwedeng buhaton nga sa kadaghan wala ta kabalo ug unsa joy pinaka. So again, this is our sample problem statement, and then make your own. Then after this, after 5 minutes, I will be back to you. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Kumana si Ma'am Rachel.
Wala pa, ma'am. Paan pa sila, ma'am? Workshop pa, ma'am.
Oh, sorry.
Ma'am I, i-remind na niya ako kung 5 minutes na.
Time check, 3:47, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, I'm back. I think time is up. Our 5 minutes is up, and I know that I'm not also giving you a very hard time in formulating your focus problem statement. So this time, I wanted to hear one from first congressional district, one sharer, then one sharer from second congressional district, and also another sharer from the third congressional district. Okay lang ba? Okay na ta? Pwede na? So can I ask Tayasan 1 to share your focus problem statement? Ma'am Emeline Bulunggaita. Hi, Ma'am Ems.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi, salamat. Sige, Ma'am Em. Palihog
Share
lang.
me diri, ma'am, with Ma'am Joy. Kay na-empty ba akong phone? I came from the SPEA monitoring, ma'am.
So wala, di ay ang kuan. At kinsa may das inyong eskwelahan, Central School?
Yes, niya, ma'am. Niya ako ang CI team.
Okay.
Our master teacher to Ma'am Emily Joy Torres.
Okay. So, can we ask them to share their focus problem statement, Ma'am Ems?
Kuan mo, ma'am, ang based on the previous record or data on reading in English sa grade 3, out of 56 grade 3 pupils, there are only 34 who can read. And therefore, ang ilang project ani, ma'am, is to increase the reading literacy of this grade 3 pupils, particularly 36 grade 6 pupils in reading grade 3. From September to January siguro ni ma'am, dili pagod sila sure og kano sila implementing a project in reading sa grade 3 because it's a transition from MTB nga moadto na ra ba gyud sa grade 4 in the following year. Mo na ako nakitan sa ilahang gisulat diri, ma'am.
Okay. Siguro ma'am, salamat kayo, Ma'am Lynn. Salamat kayo, Tayasan project team. I know that's Tayasan Central School, Matuog. Yes, Matuog Central School. So siguro we can refine, siguro ba inyo lang ma-refine. I know nga, di pa man din siya kaayo pa ng ingon ta nga, fine na sa. So basig makaingon ta nga, based on the ORV conducted on SY, ina na ba yung klaro kayo, no? Kaya with ang previous, what is our previous? Diba? So, it's not so clear that we are saying that, So, kung mao siya gibasihan, so maybe we can...
ORV na lang, ORV.
Oo. ORV, inana, no?
ORV, ma'am.
Sorry, kinapogoy laing meeting good. Okay, doha kabuk na akong gaanday. So, siguro we can improve that. Mayon ta nga, based on the ORV conducted or ORV result for SY 2019-20 unsa man ang SY ana, no?
2019, 2020 na siya, ma'am, kaya wala man tayo 2020.
34 out of pila na siya, no? 34 out of pupils or pila siya ka percent in Cherba. Ana, no? Okay, marag okay na siya.
Thank you, ma'am. We will improve this focus problem, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, Ma'am Ching.
Salamat sa kayo. Okay. I hope you don't mind. So that my purpose here is so that others also will learn, di ba? Maka-learn po sila nga to be kanang usay man ko nga maglisod ta kay ngano man wala kay tay kanang dili kayo klaro pod ang atong statement problem statement. Okay, salamat kayo. Next, can I hear from Amlan District? Amlan. Ma'am Nida.
Hello, good afternoon, Ma'am Rachel.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Yes, can you share your focus problem statement?
Okay, for Amlan District, Ma'am, I will be sharing in behalf of our PSDS, Dr. Bersabal.
Yes, sir.
Okay, since our KPI focuses on the literacy side, so here is our problem statement. Based on the gathered data, 20 out of 60 pupils, or 33.33% in English, grade 3, section gold, categorized as low readers during the conduct of the third quarter oral reading verification for the school year 2019-2020. That is it, ma'am.
Oh, yes, yes, sir. Thank you so much. So, medyo klaro yun siya, no? Na siya particular na section, o asa siya nga section, and then that is the reading ability, low reading ability of yours. Thank you so much, Amlan. Thank you so much. Atong palakpakan ang Amlan. Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Salamat po. Now, let's move on to the 3rd Congressional District. Can we hear from Shaton 1? Shaton 1, Ma'am Delia. One of your teams may share.
Good morning.
Yes, ma'am. Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon, Ma'am Rachel.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the master teacher of Inalan Elementary School.
Sorry. Yes, okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Ma'am Rachel.
Good
So
afternoon.
from Inalad Elementary School, Shatanwan District. So for our focus problem statement example, we have, based on the gathered data, 15 out of 61 pupils, or 25% in grade 4 English, belong to frustration level based on emergent reading report.
March 2020.
Okay. Okay, so salamat kayo, no? So at least you are now, klaro na, specific na inyong mga problem. At least now you will focus, o sa inyong focus for your project. I know that this is all based on data that you have gathered because you have conducted this ORV. Okay? Thank you. So,
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, for all shared. Thank you so much. My heartfelt gratitude, Ma'am Connie Sarne, Ma'am Nida Bersabal, and Ma'am Emeline Bulungaita. So I know for the rest of the schools, for the rest of the schools that we have here in this hall, and then our side, and for the DepEd TV, I know that you have already also crafted your focus problem statements, but we don't have enough time to ask you to share. At least you know how to craft your focus problem statement. Congratulations, everyone. So let me end my session with this slide. Katong kaganina, may I reiterate the slide that the strength of the team is each individual member, and the strength of each member is the team. So again, if we work as one, if we work as team, we can really do more. Because si Helen Keller, alone we can do so little, and together we can do much. So with that note, congratulations to all of you, for all the teams, the school flagship project teams created. We are looking forward that after this capacity building, and in the years to come, na you are already, since you are already capacitated, and then you know already how to look at the school picture, your school picture, and identify your problems, and then make projects to address these problems. Let us always remember, nasa 7 una ang bata perme, sulong Negros Oriental. Thank you so much and good afternoon. Back to you, Miss I.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Chief. No, very elaborate ang discussion on identifying priority areas. And we would like to thank also the shares na very participative. Okay, so thank you very much. Let's give our Chief of the School's Governance and Operations Division a resounding applause. Thank you very much. So that our session for today. So all in all, for today, we have 4 sessions. So starting from session 5 this morning by session 4 this morning by Dr. Alcala on session 4, stage 1, assess, get organized, followed by session 5 by Mr. Dennis Andalahao on step 2, talk to the customer or the voice of the customer. And then a while back, we have our session 6 by step 3 by Dr. Carl T. Credo on walk the process. And of course, by our beautiful Mother Chief of the SGOD, our session 7 on step 4, identify priority areas. So I hope that you've learned a lot of things. You have gathered a lot of information and shout out sa ato mga schools na nagama na sa ilahang malatarpuli na mga CI team. Congratulations sa home kayo si Beshi Maribel. Nana sila yung mga kuan, ma'am. Kasi tawag ato, ma'am? Mga poster na nanay lang mga nawong na CI team. Uswag ahom. Congratulations. No, we're very proud of you. And we hope that you will be able to implement, and not only implement, but be able to sustain the project now that you will be able to make, no? Sige, so, announcements before we call it a day. Di na to ipugos ang next session kay naapay ugma. Dili ko nung Mayo ng mamugos. So, tomorrow's session is for tomorrow's session. Alright. So, asa tong kuan name sa katong first as promised akong gi-announce ganiha katong naka first log in sa attendance for today, but murag na-cut off na mi ganiha dayon gamay ra ang nakasulod during the time na akong gi-announce. I will announce it again. Okay, so we have Ma'am Lisa G. Esco of Himalalo District. She was the first one to log in to our attendance for the second day. Our attendance would be open at 8 a.m. Alert! Dapat pagka 8 a.m. ma-open ang attendance, and then pagka 7 p.m. every day mo close ang atong attendance. And then I've already shared our link for day 1 and day 2 evaluation. It is already open. Thank you very much, Sir John Paul, for helping out. No, so it's already open, and it will be closed tomorrow at 12 noon. So tonight, ma-close ang attendance 7 p.m. Evaluation link will be closed 12 noon tomorrow. Okay, klaro na ha? So again, katong nangakadaog sa atong 100 glow cards, we have Ma'am Christina Kadungon of Sibulan 2. We also have Sir Rolando Yurong of Sibulan 2. Hingusog dyan yung Sibulan 2, no? Alerto, liwat sa PSDS, nagwapa. And then we also have Sir Rolando Pacaro. Okay, so 100 load card for Sir Pacaro of Valencia District. Then we have Ma'am Leslie, saan ni Abiera? Di man to ni siya mauwi mo. Ma'am Leslie Abiera. Leslie Abiera and Sir Alger Terio. Oh, kay joint account. Nakainomdom ko joint account tato nila. Okay, so, but you only have 1 load. And then we have Ma'am Helen Garcia of Shaton 1 District. You also have 1 sa katuning YouTube channel nato na DepEd Negor TV. So, and then we have last one, Ma'am Lisa G. Esco of Himalalo District. I'm not sure of what district, Himalalo 1 or 2. Mabasa Himalalo. Alright, so please contact Ma'am Gao. Give Ma'am Gao, contact Ma'am Gao, our ITO, for your kanang katong dili makaanhi makakuha sa card. You can just communicate with our ITO, and she would be very much willing to send the details of the card. So tomorrow and on Friday, mangita sa mig daghang sponsor sa card. Nya basog na gihapoy makadungog sa ato ang padungog-dungog para dagan gyapon tang free cards, no? Sige, so anything that you wish to inform Ma'am Joy before we call it a day? Ma'am Joy?
Nakamute ka, Ma'am
Miss
Joy.
I'm listening.
Yes, ma'am. Any announcements, ma'am?
I would like to ask from the group if they have concerns since we are virtual, but we want to hear or listen from you. You know, it's really hardy today. Hard, it's because we try to insert one session, right, Miss I?
Yes, ma'am. More or less, ang ilang question and ilang concern, ma'am, was regarding on the food and transportation. Katong mga ingon ato, ma'am.
So, inani siya ang concern, no, since we will issue a correndum, an addendum to that concern. For those, but initially we already informed Sir Senen, Miss I, right? Okay. Again, since in the memo it's for 5 participants, plus school heads and PSDSS, so for the food of the PSDSS will be charged to the central school. However, if you are at home, because it's actually virtual mata, then you are not entitled to food, no? Ay balay man siya kay mao man na atong guidelines on site. Ang ato lang ani Miss I is we will indicate also we will indicate in the memorandum that for those who have intermittent connection in the different sites, then you can have an option if you prefer staying at home. Unfortunately, wala na mo siya na-appeal, Miss Taino, wala na to siya na-appeal. Unya kay wala man pud mo ni raise of concern, the members atong kinabuhi, di kabasa unsa na sa una, then we already issued memorandum. So we are expecting that all people are supposed to be on site because we are on 4 days on site and 1 day work from home. But on cases like this, like for example, ako when I prepare, I really ask if I attend virtual, ang ako na ang request to Sir Senen, if it is national level, in case mulag ang internet dire, preferred for a work from home official. Pwede siya because we are on virtual. Meaning to say we are on virtual learning space. But that concern will be addressed if you have raised it. So wala man we kaibaw. We thought that we are all in your respective places because it's stated. So if and when we issued memorandum and you have some queries, no, feel free to inform us. Because remember, service credits are only approved by the SDS. Dili pwede ang principal, dili pwede ang supervisor, dili pwede ang atong ASDS. It's only the SDS who have the power or the authority to provide service credits. Nga na mo service credits plus na pa yung food. So ang food is COA rules and regulation. If you're on site, well, you can be provided. But if you're at home, then dili siya pwede. Okay, so mao ni siya nga concern. So since we are on workplace maguta, no, it's a teamwork. We fly paper planes. Yamingo dito, ma'am, what's the relevance of the paper plane when in fact we are on education? We want you to be engaged in different processes. We don't want you to contain in the education because sa atong kinabuhi, ang tinuod yun is we try to immerse you to the real life situation. So you look at the example of Sir Dennis. So that's the real thing, diba? No? Because a school is only a laboratory, but the real life world is outside. And remember, CI did not start in the education sector. It started in industries, but it was found to be effective even in the education. So it was a try. So generally, ang atong example are more on outside and bring you inside. That's how we dwell with the CI. So you will have a better perspective. It will be in-depth in terms of learning. No? Dili siya contained in a particular place. So kana siya nga concern, kana Miss I, mangayo ko nila o kanang basig na apa sila yung mga concern, kanang ingon ana sa atong memo, kay og si Miss I pa, murag kaupat namin nag-addendum, nag-corrigendum, all the dom, no? Si Ma'am Carmi is mo na, nag-prepare sa memo, murag kadaghan na gyud tawo naghimo. Yeah, this time we want it, no? Because you have raised it. So we look forward that there are feedback. Okay. I would like to share with you, are you familiar with Nas Daily? Ana bang video content blogger? He said that iya ko ng technique to be make it worldwide and to be very was able to impact things is that it's all right to be angry. Meaning to say, sometimes your emotion, you go extreme because you learn how to manage it. And we understand. I know you're overwhelmed now with the work. Medyo ubay-ubay, napay mga kilid-kilid. You are not alone. Parehas na mo. We just don't tell you, but we have 3 virtual spaces right now. Anybody, dili lang kita. Dili lang kamo, dili lang kami. It's already getting normal because we are going through new normal. We find it maybe not really that productive, but we have to embrace it. We have to learn how to manage it. Okay, so we are giving you some chat, no? Okay. Then feel free to inform us if you feel medyo ma'am wala kay ni kasabot ana. We will be very happy if you'll inform us. That's our role. Then if you feel medyo there are things that you feel you're not comfortable, inform us. We will be very glad to also to reach out, no, to adjust. That's why we need process observers because this is continuous improvement. And the very thing that we have to improve is our work ethics, our values as a person, no? Our attitude towards work. After all, competence can be developed and we have all that. It's difficult to develop at sa tao na even in the CI. Okay. So, kanang regarding sa memorandum, na pa may mga problema. Unsa pa man dyan inyong gusto, kaya ato man ang ipahibaw sa atong sir. Okay. Kung na may mga pangutana, inform us, or you can send it through Miss I, no? I know we are on live. Okay. Di lang kita ang live, daghan na it's been already an activity. So, if you have some concern, medyo you want any adjustment on how we handle the session, feel free to inform us. Despite we are distant and we are just seeing each other at the screen, unfortunately we cannot see all, but we want to stay connected. How will we stay connected? We still have the heart. Ano na bang naaanggugma sa kada usa sa atong trabaho, sa atong mga kauban, no? Usahay na atay mga concerns, but definitely kung naay mga concern, we will take it professionally. Okay. So Miss I, maybe kaning how will they send any feedback from you? And take note, we have our evaluation sheet, no, online. Miss I, ato nang napaansira nila.
Yes,
ma'am. Okay, feel free to diba, voice of the customers. So we will listen to your voice. Rest assured that we will take it professionally. If there are things that we will improve, we will be very happy. Feel free to inform us. Okay, if you will not take it positively, then definitely we will not be improving. We are the division CI champions. We are the CI champions, meaning to say we want to exude that positive vibes and the influence among the PSDSS, among the school heads, among the teachers. So with that, please feel free and we'll try to review, Miss I. Maybe we can read, maybe there are some issues na need not to be discussed live, then definitely we will try to see. So kinsay nakatubag na sa evaluation sheet. Mas nindot unta siya, you'll answer earlier para makuha nato. Okay. Naapay
Wala
line.
na. Karoon na siyang during Ma'am Rachel's
Okay. So at
section
least
nato na disseminate.
Okay, so we look forward. No, the only way for us to improve on our session is provide us the right feedback. Rest assured that it will be taken professionally, and we expect that you will also do the same. Na? Kanang naatay mga exchange of conversation, when we have some, in terms of how we deliver, there are some gaps, there are some limitations. We hope that you'll also consider us. Just like you have also your limitation. Kami po na po may limitation. I do not know if somebody is really perfect in the presentation. Now, we hope you'll be considering. There are so many gaps, especially in the technology. No? Lisod sa dayag yun mi nga, inigtanaw na mo, kabaw mo, basta kaning mag full screen na mi, inig sa slideshow, amo kung may makitang tao. No, and it's we want to be connected to you, and we want to reach out, no, just like the normal na pwede mo tawagon anytime. Even in my case, ako, I do not know most of the school heads, so the teachers, so we want to call you by name, we want to recognize you, pero lisura dyan siya, eh? So we hope you have that consideration. Okay. Feel free to inform us. Our background is the vibrance of the sunflower. We hope that it can be exuded, no? So, kanang daghan kay ga-attend din nga mga maestra, nagpasalamat mi apan hinaot nga mga principals, nakapahibalo na nila nga ang atong kuan maraang in terms of the service credits, no? Okay, so unsaon na nato pag-reconcile. But sa actual participation, ako po nang erase ni Sir Sanen with that concern. So in case kanang daghan kaayo, we'll check, no, kung sa atong malimo. Ato na siyang tanawon. So napay mga problema, wa may problema kay magbabay sa taron aron makapangulay mo. Watching the screen. Okay. Do we still have our PSDSS? Our PSDSS, I know there are sometimes nga mulag siya. So, ang first yun unta namo nga plano is determine mga pilot schools nga atong ipakuan sa CI. But I think nga ma'am, kausahon ra nato. Anyway, this will be recorded. And the moment mulag, our PSDSS can come up with their also orientation in the respective district cluster. So, kung naamoy time na di wa mo naka-connect, medyo naputol, anyway, we have the recorded video. It's recorded for backup. That's the normal, it's backup. Mao siya ang realidad sa atin. Naamoy press na mo na. So, Sir Dominador, wala kay pangutana?
Wala na ma'am, good afternoon.
Sir, good afternoon.
Afternoon,
Si
ma'am.
Ma'am Univille, ang naa ang iyang mga backup team sa iyang luyo. Ang ako makita sa akong screen ha, si Sir Oster Rilasa. Si Sir Tano, naa ka sa imong kuan, imong unsa may iyang view. O, nindot kayo na sir, amo ng suluyon sir.
Kasi sa office ma'am sa Untitled School.
Okay. It's nice, no? Nindot kayo ang surrounding. Si Sir Pacaro, o na iyang grupo din na. O, dahil upali na kapita, pasensya kayo mo, dili nindot sa Monica, it's one thing that you will learn in the new normal. Despite being disconnected, we will stay connected using our hearts and our minds. Maugi na siya importante. It's a test. Okay, so naapatay mga pangutana kay murag gikapoy na si Sir Tano, murag mukat-kat pa siguro dito sa tumoy. Unsa na iyang picture din na si Sir Pakaro na usa ka batalyon nga naa sa Luyo. Saon na lang na pag-uli. Naapa kayong Univel. O, nana po usa po din ha ka batalyon.
Mga school heads na, ma'am. Mga school
Mga heads. Sa pag-uutan. Salamat kaayo ninyo. Honestly, I look forward to see you, to meet you in person. Yun na akong gihangyo in town. In town itugot ang panahon nga di ko kakita aning mga tawana nga masigila mikita sa virtual space. Okay. Na may mga nalisdan sa session? Sayon ra?
Sayo na kayo, ma'am, para nila kay mga 40 man yan yato ang mga PSDSS.
Okay.
Mga alert ba na sila kaayo?
Ay, nice. It's nice to hear. Eh, ako ba first session 1, 2, lisod-lisod pa kong process, and kasunod, marang-arang, hangtod ang git masabtan, no? Dili din siya ang automatic mo sink in. But I'm happy. I know si Ma'am Vilma, there are times during the presentation we were distracted because of some concerns need to be attended here at the office, but trying to catch up. Yes, say Ma'am Vil, no one is exempted with that, including us.
Yes, kay karon gani duha gani ka pre-bid conference while doing this flagship capacity building, and then CSA
Mission nga wala ko kasulod. Mauna siya niya kami ron nag-pre-bid pud me. That's normal. We understand that. Mao bitaw na atay backup nga recorded video. Di ba, Miss Ai? No?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, that is also one of our announcements na those who weren't able to follow sa DepEd Tayo Facebook Live, they can always visit the LRMDS Negor TV, our YouTube channel. Naara siya dito, ma'am. So they can always review the videos. They can always review the sessions. Naara dito tanan, ma'am. That's the beauty of this, no?
Thank you very much, Miss Ai. So at least lahat siya, no?
And then we are also collating all our slides or our presentations because we are going to put this in one Google Drive, and then we are going to share this to our districts. So no worries on the slides. We are going to share them to you at the end or on the 4th day na lang ta para kuan siya ma-preempt manggod pag mauna-una na mughatag ang mga resources or references or ang ato ang mga presentations. So we are going to give our presentations on Friday.
Okay, so mao to siya. Thank you, Miss Aino. So we will provide you everything from the presentation, no? That's how we want to ensure that unsa among giandam diri mao pod inyo makuha. You can enhance it, but at least you have the guide.
Yes, ma'am. And we are very much happy to announce that we have one new sponsor of 300 Globe Load.
Wow.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Vilma Tagibulusan, for the sponsorship.
I-announce lagi niyo.
Naday nakadungog, ma'am, sa mga padungog-dungog. Basta po na, dyan po yung makadungog lain.
Miss Ai, you don't have to say it.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so Ma'am Carmi, our focal person, any announcement, any instruction to the field? Ma'am Carm? Ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. Just want to complete their CI flagship team, the school flagship team, and it was continued by Ma'am Richelle. So hopefully, after our 4-day activity, they will be able to craft their flagship design.
Okay. Makahappy kayo, ma'am, kay alert kayo sila mugama atong ilahang mga CI team na banners, nana sila mga titles, nana sila mga i-project na mga projects or mga CI na mga projects na they have in mind. So daghan ang nagpa-check, then anak ko na, let's go through the process. Kay they would be learning when they go through the process with that project in mind.
Okay.
Bito, it's happy to know that they are enjoying also the activity of the different sessions.
And we hope that the planes that you have flown a while katong gahapon ganang buntag atong gipalupad nga mga
Ganihang buntag, ma'am.
Oh, so dili na nato ilabay kay katapusan magpalupad ra gihapon ta, no? So we started with flying the plane. Definitely we will need also to fly another plane to check, no? That's how we ensure the process. Okay. So
Ma'am Joy, if you just saw their documentation of their launching of the paper planes na sa gawa sa school, ang uban they share their pictures, makalingaw pod, ma'am.
And I was able to read that nalabay ang plane because of the wind. So that's one thing that we have to check. Unsay contribution ng wind, no? Di lang sana na mo elaborate, but you realize nga kana siyang dapita ato ko din natanaw. And we conduct with our CI project, naapo din na siya kanang value. So, nito tayo sa gawas, no?
No more
concern. Pauna, no? Dili sa namo na ikuan. So just try to go on with the process, no? Just enjoy it. Ayaw sa mo pag-una-una, unsa na gyud among buhaton tapusan. No, be engaged. Our advice is be engaged. Enjoy the process. According to this, an expert he said.
Yes, ma'am. So there's no other concern, ma'am.
So wala na tayo concern. Anyway, naaman tayo evaluation sheet.
They can always,
And last, for the CI, Division CI Flagship team, we will be having a debriefing after this. Ma'am Joy?
Okay, yes, ma'am. So, Miss I, you may ask
them. Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so thank you very much, Ma'am Joy, Ma'am Carmi, Ma'am Rachel, Ma'am Nilita, Sir Carl, Sir Dennis, the whole CI team, and all our PSDSS and our teachers. Daghang salamat for a fruitful day 2. Very fruitful, very productive, and very enjoyable day 2. Daghang salamat kaninyong tanan. We hope and pray that you go home safe and sound. Stay healthy, everyone. God bless. Daghang salamat. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye-bye. Bye. Keep safe. Amping.
Ma'am Joy?
Oh.